When three eyes met, a fateful award ceremony. Dakota, Chris, Jamie meet for the first time after the confession, "I choose you." Los Angeles Dolby Theater, the Academy Awards night has never been so quiet, not because of scandal. Not because of controversy, but because of a moment. No one dared to breathe. Three people with three hearts that were once bound together by unnamed emotions, Dakota Johnson, Chris Martin and Jamie Dornan, finally entered the same space, the same light, the same breath. And it all started from the moment the red door behind the stage opened. Dakota, the woman standing between two different chapters of her life. Dakota appeared in a white silk dress as soft as a cloud. The light shining on her made her look like a love story that went through a storm and finally found a destination. She held Chris's hand gently. His fingers tightened, a wordless reassurance. Dakota swallowed, her heart racing. She knew who was in the room. She knew the expectant eyes. She knew the silent questions waiting to be asked. But she didn't back down. She didn't hide. She didn't hide behind anyone. Today, she faced him. Chris, the man who walks with peace. Chris Martin always had a calm demeanor, but tonight he looked more tense than usual. He felt Dakota tremble, and he knew why. It wasn't because of the paparazzi. It wasn't because of the Hollywood spotlight. It was because of the man sitting in the third row, Jamie Dornan. Chris took a breath. "If you need to stop, just squeeze my hand." Dakota smiled. "No. I'm fine. I'm here." The words, seemingly simple, made Chris's heart flutter. They were the words he'd been waiting for 3 years. And now, she said them like a natural breath. Jamie, the man who faced the painful and beautiful truth. Jamie Dornan sat there, adjusting his tuxedo collar as if to hide his slightly trembling hands. He didn't try to find Dakota, but his eyes kept looking out the hallway, where he knew she would appear. When Dakota walked in, Jamie paused as if struck by a slight electric current. She was beautiful in a mature way. No longer confused, no longer lost, no longer the half-wanting, half-fearful look he'd had years ago. And Chris stood beside her, peaceful as a sky that had found its star. Jamie swallowed the emotions that were rising. A sentence flashed through his mind. That's where she belongs. The moment their eyes met. Dakota turned her head toward the bench. In that moment, she and Jamie made eye contact. Just a second, but it was the longest second of the night. Jamie smiled slightly, no longer holding back the pain. No longer hiding, just a smile of recognition. Dakota nodded slowly, like a way to say goodbye to a beautiful memory that cannot be kept. Chris saw it all. No jealousy, no insecurity. Just held Dakota's hand tighter. She turned to him. And he smiled with a smile that was only for her. A circle closed, another circle opened. Backstage, the meeting that no one had predicted. After the first award presentation, Dakota excused herself to get some water. Chris let her go, though he was a little worried. In the back hallway, she turned a corner and stopped. Jamie was there, alone, leaning lightly against the wall, as if she knew she would see her, but didn't dare to actively look for her. Dakota smiled softly. "Hello." Jamie nodded. "Hello." The atmosphere wasn't as heavy as they both thought. Just silence. A mature, beautiful, and mature silence. Jamie spoke first. "I read Chris's interview. And I understand." Dakota looked at him, her eyes so gentle, so sad. "I know, you will understand." Jamie took a deep breath, as if to release something that had been weighing down for years. "I'm glad you found what you deserved." Dakota blinked, her voice as small as a whisper. "Thank you, for being a part of that journey." Jamie smiled, a beautiful, painful smile. "Don't thank me. Just be happy." Chris appeared, the historic encounter. Chris returned to the hallway to find Dakota, and when he saw her talking to Jamie, he paused. But he didn't leave. Not hiding his presence. He walked over, gentle, polite, more mature than any man in the same position. Dakota turned. Chris. Jamie stood up straight, held out his hand. Congratulations. Sincerely, Chris shook his hand. Firm, warm, non-competitive. Thank you, Jamie. No hostility. No past involved. No comparison. Just three people, finally letting things stand in their place. A moment of liberation. Dakota looked at the two of them, the man who had been a beautiful part of her past, and the man who was her entire future. Chris put his hand on Dakota's back, a small but warm gesture. Dakota leaned into him gently, naturally, without forcing it. Jamie looked at them, his eyes as light as the early autumn wind, no more bitter regrets. Only an unspoken wish. You're in the right place, Dakota. The end of a triangle, with no losers. Dakota and Chris returned to their seats. As they passed, Jamie said something so small only Dakota could hear. Thank you for being true to your heart. Dakota turned, smiling. You should be too. Jamie looked after her. For the first time, no pain, no loss, no tearing, just lightness. Chris held Dakota's hand as she sat down. She leaned her head against his shoulder. For the first time that night, she felt completely at peace. And Jamie, he sat alone, breathing out slowly. But it was the breath of someone who had finally let go of something he had held onto for too long. A chapter of Hollywood romance closed, beautiful, delicate, and mature. No drama, no heavy tears. No one was wrong. Just three hearts learning one important thing. True love is not the love that doesn't hurt. It's the love that finally brings us home.